All right, guys. Jay Wilson from Honest Reporting here. Whoa, let's not get blown away by code. Sorry about that. Today we're going to do a tutorial about that's going to show you how to use JavaScript to query Domo's APIs and build a little miniature app that will sync content between Domo's um, data lineage and a note-taking tool. Now, my note-taking tool of choice is called Notion. But what I really appreciate and like about it is I can generate documentation for my Domo customers. And that documentation might be a YouTube video that I've posted, or it might have links to articles that I used in part of my solution. But you know how documentation is. It's the last thing we think of, and the worst part about it is as soon as something changes in your data flow or your pipeline, all of a sudden your documentation is stale and stagnant. And so I wanted to see if I could take Domo Lineage, hit that API, and sync content inside of this note-taking tool that I was building. Now, if you ask me, Jay, how do I do that? Well, my answer is always the same. I'll say, go to the page of interest, click it, inspect, go to the network tab, press refresh, and immediately you'll see all of the APIs that Domo's hitting as the browser is rendering the content. And all you got to do is find the right API. In our case, our API of interest, I think is going to be this one. We're going to grab this API here. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Look at this. It tells me the data flows. It tells me to input data sets. I think this is the one that I want. And so I just copy this value here, right? And I'm going to just jump over to Postman. And if you're not familiar with Postman, Postman is a tool that allows you to construct API queries um, against your APIs, right? And I know I'm supposed to send a GET request. Okay, here's my API. Press the send button. And it says, hey, it doesn't work. Full authentication is required to access this resource. And you're like, okay, what's full authentication? If you're familiar with my data crew website, I have an article out here, datacrew.circle.so. It's a community site where I post little code snippets for people trying to get started in Domo. But you can see to do full authentication, you have to send a post request to this URL with this body, and then you'll get a session token back. And then you take that session token, and then you add it to your API query using Domo authentication as a header, and then it should work. So coming back to Postman, I say, hey, I went through the API authentication. I passed in my actual password. It came back with a session token. Come over here, click send. I'm including my Domo authentication. There's my session token. Here's my response. Great. Now, how do I turn that into this? That's what the tutorial is about. We're going to roll up our sleeves, guys. We're going to write some JavaScript, but we're also going to understand how this API framework of Domos works. And I hope you can do some amazing and cool things with this. So stay for the journey.